Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, my name is Nuruzzahra. In this video, I would like to explain about some guidelines for developing listening material. Let's get started. Introduction. North claims that some people believe language learning is not just learning to speak, but is learning to build a mental map of meaning. Cognitive maps are in fact built through listening but not speaking. Like listening practice, developing listening material has been marginally dealt with in instructional materials. Until recently, little attention was paid to develop appropriate listening materials. Most listening materials were based on audio files used for developing oral production. To open new horizon to develop listening material in this technology era, this chapter tries to introduce different listening activities and technologies used for the development of listening materials. Types of listening practice. Different classifications have been developed for listening practice. Nation and Newton distinguish two broad types of listening: one-way listening and two-way listening. They consider one-way listening as transactional listening and two-way listening as interactional listening. On the other hand, this classification makes a distinction between conventional and contemporary views of listening. Brown and Rose propose more detailed classification. These two classifications have many similar points in common. Brown suggests 6 types of classroom listening performance: reactive, intensive, responsive, selective, extensive, interactive. Rose's classification, very similar to that proposed by Brown, consists of intensive listening, selective listening, interactive listening, extensive listening, and responsive listening. Listening process. Program language learners as well as their teachers believe that listening is a difficult skill to master. This is because of different processes such as cognitive, affective, social, and physiological process are involved in listening comprehension. Field and Lynch, two main cognitive processes are distinguished in L2 listening instruction. They include bottom-up and top-down process, Lynch and Mendelssohn. Bottom-up processing is used to combine increasingly larger units of meaning. It processes from phoneme level unit to discourse level unit, from sound to word, and from word to longer lexical item. Pandergrips. File also states that top-down processing serves two different functions. First, ignoring the details and focusing on general issues, and compensate for gaps in understanding. Moreover, top-down processing might also enrich and fully decode an elaborated message. As a result, listeners use both linguistic information in this text as well as prior knowledge to comprehend spoken language.
Okay, my name is Vivian Agustin. Now I want to continue the material. The next material is about characteristic of effective listening material. Belezeden suggests 4 features for effective listening materials. The first feature of effective listening material is incorporating both bottom-up and top-down processing. Real-world listening is based on bottom-up and top-down processing. As a result, listening material is a second language context should incorporate both process. Second, listening material should provide exposure to different types of listening depending on learners' language proficiency level. Materials may expose learners to intensive, selective, interactive, extensive, responsive, and autonomous listening. The third is listening material should be based on authentic recording. It means listening material used in language classes should match on the spoken discourse used by native speaker. And then finally, listening material should improve learners' listening comprehension, not testing it. And the next material is about authentic material. Underwood refers to authentic audio material as recording of natural speech which are present in everyday source. And then there are Vandergrift and Gould believe authentic materials are inherently interesting. It is so because such materials involve current topic, and current topic are interesting to learners at all age and background. Vandergrift and Gould further suggest a number of sources for one listening, such as video, radio, and television broadcasts, songs, audio recording, CD-ROM, the internet, and situation in which speech is performed, such as drama and poetry recital. And some authentic material have spontaneously, but some are more controlled. Such material as new broadcasting, drama, train and plane announcement, advertisement, and documentaries are good examples for more controlled presentation. And then the last material is about listening activity types. Van Oven, Hopper, and Harris suggest listening activity types should be based on the standards suggested by American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Language. The standards are supposed to satisfy 5 main reasons to foreign language learning. These reasons that are known as the 5 C's of foreign language education include communication, culture, connection, comparison, and communities. Van Oven further state that listening activity employ different competence, such as grammatical competence, discourse competence, sociolinguistic competence, and strategy competence. For example, some activity may be designed to improve linguistic knowledge of learners, to practice cohesion and coherence, to familiarize learners with different helpful strategy used in communication, or to improve that in different contexts of use. As a result, this activity needs the interplay of various types of knowledge. In this way, they suggest 7 listening activity types include. First is listening to a conversation. That is conversation may be from a textbook, supplement, radio broadcast, guest speakers or skit. And then second is listening to teacher prompt. Maybe teachers question game, teachers questions, game prompt or assignment direction. The third is listening to a broadcast. Listening to a broadcast is the broadcast may be from radio, television, the news, or performance by applying web radio or podcast. The fourth is listening to poem or song. Poem or song may be live or record from CD, web, or podcast. And then the fifth, listen to an audio recording. The recording may be either teacher made or student made in the form of podcast or web audio site. And then 6, listening to a presentation. The presentation may be live or recorded by using presentation software or video or audio conference. And then the last is listening to a story. The story may be from audiobooks, CDs, web, and podcasts. And then that's all about listening materials, developing listening materials. And then thank you for your nice attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.